Hi, I'm Gloria and I'm back for week 7 of applying a growth mindset to Valorant. I ended up skipping a week of playing Valorant because I had 5 interviews and I was not planning for this job process to move so quickly, but I ended up getting the job offer and I'm really excited about the team I get to work with. So yeah, that said, I still want to continue the Valorant grind and making YouTube videos because it's honestly just really fun for me to do and it brings me fulfillment. So yeah, I'm just going to deprioritize it a little bit and my progress will be slower, but you know what? That's okay. So last week, I spent about 16.6 hours focused on Valorant. I also learned the ideal schedule I'd like to have based on my energy and willpower to do things throughout the day. It's basically to wake up and do my usual morning routine, eat, then get straight into training my mechanics and practicing my gunfights and deathmatches. After that, it would be ideal to take a break and go to the gym and swim or lift weights. After that, I would go home and then eat, which is really important, aim train, and then warm up, and then go into my comp games while meditating after the second game. After my comp games, I would ideally do a quick VOD review and then call it a day. I still want to focus on studying one map per week, but I've been a little thrown off lately because of the job process, so I need to find a spot to fit that into my schedule again. I felt pretty off this week because I took a week break from playing comp and I ended up going on an 8-game lose streak. I also demoted back to plat 1, but it's okay. Jumping into the week now, Monday was the first day I could fully think about Valorant after the job interview process, and I was really excited to play again, but also nervous because I think I played a total of 4 games since this whole process started. I played 1 game in a 5-stack and then solo queued 2 games, and honestly my stats weren't that bad, but I have a few clips that will give you an idea of how I was playing. Like in this clutch, I almost ran into my ult and killed myself. I actually didn't even realize I could have died until I watched this clip again, but hey, I won the clutch. And in this clip, I did that thing again where I thought my teammate was going to swing with me, but they didn't even have the gun for it. And then I just overcommitted to this fight, but I should have known. This is a really easy mistake to fix. In this clip, I got so lucky, but I whiffed so hard on the cypher. Okay, this is probably the worst one, and I don't even have the words for this, but I literally just didn't see. And I ended up getting knifed. Okay, other than those things, my Pearl has actually improved a lot from that one time I spent studying the map, and honestly I think it's one of my better maps right now. I was still able to make round-winning plays based off of my read and my macro decisions. For example, one of my favorite things to do is to play around the smoke in dugout area, and I think this is one of the 3rd times I was able to get a timing and catch the enemy off guard. But yeah, I turned this from a 3v4 into a 3v2 situation and then killed an ulted Reyna at the end, which was mega satisfying. On Tuesday, I wanted to try aim training while alternating between double my sense and then my regular sense, and I honestly wish I could explain to you why I did this. I don't know, I just kind of felt like it would help me be a little more intentional with my aim and my tension and my grip and all that. And yeah, to be honest, I think it did give me a little more awareness after, but yeah, I had to keep practicing it because I was a little distracted during this aim training session. Afterwards, I practiced my movement in the range and then went swimming to take a little cardio break. When I came back, I did my regular warm-up routine that I mentioned last week and then hopped into 3 comp games and played Jett for all 3 games and won all of them. Not gonna lie, I definitely got lucky with my teammates here because I did a lot of stupid stuff. In my second Jett game on Abyss, I was tilted from the first round because my teammate was
oh no, I got shit to list again.
And I literally was just in team dashing into sight like a madman and dying, and honestly I haven't felt this way in a while, so I felt really bad for doing that and really tried to get out of this mental state. Yeah, and this is gonna sound a little crazy, but one thing that helped me was pretending this was a normal game with nice teammates. So I would just be oh, nice try, if my teammate tried to do something and then died. I didn't say it in voice chat, but I just thought it to myself, and something about this concept of acting how I would if I had good teammates helped me feel the sense of normal. And honestly, I think it helped my mental a little bit. I learned from a previous week that I put a lot of pressure on myself when I top frag and feel the need to make calls. But in this fracture game, I found myself starting to think about what should I tell my team to do, or what should I do differently, or what should we do differently, or like how can I win this game, that it really started to distract me from playing the game well. Honestly, I'm so glad I caught myself doing this because I was able to subtly take that pressure off myself by just like recognizing it and just trying to play how I was in the first half of the game without all of this pressure. And this awareness was only made possible because of my reflections for doing these YouTube videos. So I'm really happy I caught myself because I think that pressure can really get to me. Like whether I'm doing really well or whether I'm doing really bad, like it's either or, it still gets to me. Another win for Tuesday was I caught myself being confused by my teammates' positioning. Let's just all hold the drop. And I was proud of myself for making this one call for like all three of us to hold this angle for the Reina to drop, because in a previous round my teammates literally lost a 1v3. I was like, that's not happening again, like we're all just gonna hold this. So yeah, and then we got the kill, and it's little progress like this that makes me really happy. But I'm definitely more capable of making calls when my teammates are already nice and calming, so I definitely need to build these skills for like if that's not the case. But I think it will come as I build my awareness for the game and just my general game sense, so I'm not too worried about it, but it's definitely something I struggle with. The last thing about Fracture is I found this angle on defense and it worked so many rounds for me. I've only died from the inside of A main from this angle, but I haven't ever killed someone like this, so it was really satisfying for me. I'm excited to try it out in a future Fracture game again. On Wednesday, I alternated between double my sense and my regular sense, and I already felt like it was easier to make micro adjustments and not overflick as much when I went back to my regular sense. Because I needed more control to do like double my sense, it kind of helped me manage my tension and control a little bit better. I then hopped into the range to isolate my movement training and continued with Woohoojin's routine and this other routine I made up. One thing that I thought was interesting was that it was really helpful for me to say like right, left, middle immediately when I saw the bot, depending on where it showed up. It was easier for me to be like mentally prepared to hit the shot, and I was way more consistent by doing that. I thought there was something here because it's kind of similar to in-game. Like if I can really anticipate where the enemy is, like crosshair placement, then it's way easier for me to prep my like physical body to like tap someone's head. So I was like wondering how to apply this concept in-game, but obviously it has to do with a lot of game sense and awareness. After doing this routine, I then strafed and shot the spot a few hundred times again, and then I practiced shooting 2 targets while strafing back and forth from behind the sage wall. I swear this will be useful for me in the future because I know that it's a skill that I don't have right now. Afterwards, I played 3 comp games and had 2 Jett games on Vine, and I honestly went into the games thinking they'd be easy because I always thought this was one of my best agent map combos, but I freaking lost all 3 games this day, and I was wondering like what I could have done to win these games. I was pretty disappointed in myself because of the Jett bind thing, but I felt pretty motivated to VOD review this and then also see how pros play bind, because I kind of just like made these angles up on myself. So before I went to sleep, I actually watched a Demon 1 video on bind, and I think I learned a few things, so excited to try that out next time. So I did a quick VOD review for the Jett bind game that I played last, and one thing that I noticed, actually this happened on both bind games, is I actually tried to take U-Haul by myself on pistol round with no util, and obviously I died both games doing that. The first round I just died to this chamber, and the second round I died to a raise with the shorty, and honestly I think it impacted both my mental and then also obviously the game itself because it set the tone and also the economy for the first 3 rounds. So I decided that I'm not gonna dry peek U-Haul on pistol round anymore, and if I decide to take it, then I'm gonna ask my teammate to use util or just come with me. The other important thing that stood out to me was that I tended to S-key a lot in situations that I'm like scared or confused in. Like after the sky kill, I immediately S-keyed back into truck. Like instead I could have been more decisive and moved forward to take more space, and if you look, even the sky decided to do that. I could have just ran with her to trade her, or honestly, even if she wasn't there and like she didn't move forward, I could have just had a plan to go to bench and hold that position to play cross with my team. Yeah, at this point, I'm just identifying a lot of problems, but I think like at the core it does have to do with being decisive and having a plan and just my overall awareness of the situation. Also, in the second bind game I played that day, I got really tilted from my cipher. I was so tilted. I had to look up his tracker just so I can have something to say to him. I was really triggered because he was blaming our Reyna for not entering on our buy round. Like, it was basically an anti-eco round.
Bro, just wait, it's a smoke. Oh my god.
He wanted the Reyna to run through a smoke and into potentially like shotguns, and I was on my Reyna side because I thought that was a
Bro,
stupid
just
thing to
wait,
do.
it's
He was
a
literally saying just like we should just full rush site if we have guns, and didn't agree with him. And then throughout the entire game he was just kind of being negative and toxic, and so I kept talking back to him. Honestly, I should have just let it go, but I don't know, my mental wasn't good. So there's a point when he called, like, I don't know who it was, his mic was low, but he called like someone boosted on our team, and so I got annoyed also because I mean, I'm definitely not boosted because I only solo queue on this account now. I saw that his solo win rate was 33%. And I was like, oh my god. I really wanted to say it in voice comms, but I didn't want to be that person. I don't know. So I just typed it and I said, who are you calling boosted? Your solo win rate is 33%. I felt so satisfied at the end because I feel like I never have anything to say to people that just like bully others. Honestly, this was like the first time I was able to stand up for myself. Not just the tracker thing or the win rate thing, but it was just about like general gameplay, and like I knew that he was being dumb, and then I had confidence in my understanding of the game, and so I was really proud of myself for being able to stand up for my teammate and also for myself. So yeah, after losing those games, I felt like I really wanted to learn more about mechanics, and I was like, why have I not been watching YouTube videos? So I decided to look on YouTube and saw this Konpeki guide video titled "These 57 minutes cover every Valorant mechanic, version 2.0, no BS." I watched this and then decided to do all of the drills and also just add the drills to my daily routine. For drill 1, I practiced spraying this board, 5 bullets each with the Vandal. And honestly, I practiced this before in the past, so it wasn't too foreign to me, but I wasn't super consistent at it either. For drill 2, it took me a second to figure out how to do this drill, so it was actually good practice for me, because if I flicked too close, I wouldn't need to micro adjust as much, and I wanted to practice micro adjusting because that was the point of this exercise. So I decided to focus on bots farther away from each other to get a wider flick because I was less accurate and I could practice micro adjusting better. I also decided to pull out my classic because I have this anxiety using my classic. I feel like I cannot shoot with it, so I might as well practice it using it in the range. For drill 3, okay, this is my first attempt at strafing and shooting this wide without using my mouse, and I looked like I was struggling a lot, which I was. By the time I got to doing the smaller strafes, I either got more used to the strafing or I was just generally more comfortable with the timing of smaller strafes, so it looked a little bit better. Yeah, doing this drill kind of made me realize I don't quite have the fundamentals down of counter strafing or dead zoning if it meant that I couldn't time it with the larger strafes. I was pretty excited to learn this because it was something really obvious that I could work on that I wasn't consistent in. For the last part of drill 3, I decided to use a bot because it's more satisfying to shoot a bot's head, and this wasn't anything new to me since I've been practicing this since last week. Something new I tried though was going closer to the bot and using my classic and ghost to get more comfortable with these guns. I have a feeling that these drills will be really helpful for me in comp games. For drill 4, I tried really hard to practice slicing the pie and pre-aiming on split. I chose split mid because it scared me to go mid, and whenever I went mid, I honestly lost the fight to heaven like a lot of times. And I'm so glad I watched a recording of me doing this because I look so silly. I can't wait to look back on this video like 3 months from now and see how far I progressed with this. On Friday and Saturday, I started my day off by doing the mechanics drill for about 30-40 minutes, and I already noticed the drill being easier. I set a timer for 3 minutes for each drill and spent a little more time working on specific mechanics drills that I struggled with. I noticed that I had a worse side when it came to dead zoning and also micro flicking, so I tried to get in a bunch of reps on my bad side, and I don't know how to explain this, but I feel like I learned how to physically flick my wrists better. after doing it a bunch of times. So I was getting pretty excited about that. For my comp games, I continued my loss streak and officially lost my 8th game, but at least the 3 games I last played, I team MVP'd. I didn't want to cope too much by saying that these were a team div, because honestly, if I were good enough, I'm sure I could have gotten us even closer to winning these games or have won the games. And despite being on a loss streak, I'm not too bummed out because I took a week off, and also I can feel my mechanics improving and my map awareness improving, so I'm sure I'll be back in a week or 2, and I know that I'm still improving overall. Okay, now for a quick recap of week 7. What went well? Separating training and warm-up from last week was really helpful. I was a tiny bit more decisive when my teammates confused me, which is a huge win, I would say. My mechanics fundamentals already improved a little just from this week. I lost 8 games, but my mental was still okay. What didn't go well? I had toxic teammates that affected my mental a lot for those games and the games after. I lost 8 games in a row, and honestly, I feel like I was making so many decisions that threw my games, and yeah, it's not anything new, but it was really noticeable this week. How can I improve for next week? I can continue my mechanics training, and then also I want to continue studying maps that I suck at, like Split. So I just need to fit that into my schedule for next week. Okay, thanks for watching week 7. Bye bye.